guys, welcome back to another video. Today's original idea was going to be talking about like 5 haunted places within Wisconsin, but as I started doing my research, I realized there was this one building that I wanted to talk about just by itself because it's haunted as fuck. This building is a cigar bar in Milwaukee known as Shaker's Cigar Bar. It is a very popular establishment, and as the title states, it is a bar and you can actually buy cigars there and smoke. They have events and they have tours. And the tours are what I'm going to be talking about today because this place has ghosts. Shaker's Cigar Bar is in Milwaukee's Walker's Point and is one of the top 5 most haunted bars in the United States. Before the building was constructed, the surrounding land was used as a cemetery for a number of indigenous natives of Milwaukee. However, that changed when the land was commissioned to be the site for the Schultz Brewery Cooperage House, which was built in 1894. So it starts out with a native burial ground that they destroyed to put a building on top of, which that is the start of any horror movie. Any haunted house built on top of a native burial ground, you're going to have some problems. In 1905, the building was put back on the market and was sold to be used as a distribution center, which makes sense since it's in a warehouse district. Then, 15 years later, the Capone Brothers, yes, those Capone Brothers, Al, Frank, and Ralph Capone, the mobsters, took ownership of the building in 1922. The building was used as a speakeasy under their ownership, with a business front posing as the ABC Soda Company that was pretending to be bottling innocent soda, while in reality they were putting imported booze from Canada brought over Lake Michigan in beer barrels. At the front was the fake soda bottling company. In the back was the speakeasy. In the basement you could gamble, and on the second and third floor you could go to the brothel. Ugh, what a great combination. These prostitutes were all teenage girls. Being young and beautiful were irresistible to those coming to the speakeasy. Using underage girls was common in Prohibition speakeasies in Milwaukee. As Milwaukee had been a long favorite place for conventions, this brothel was active until 1945. Throughout the years, many bar establishments were open for business at the location, providing beer and drinks to local workers who were employed by businesses in the warehouse district. The Shaker's Cigar Bar, which is in the building now, came into being when it was bought in 1986 by Bob Weiss, who soon learned that the building was already occupied by spirits with connections to the building. Some were mischievous, some friendly, and some were downright grumpy. Now, this building technically has 4 floors. There is the basement and then 3 floors above ground. The basement is objectively creepy. It's dark, it's old, it's covered in cobwebs, stone, it's just a creepy ass basement. There is a cistern in the basement floor, and every time they try to cover it, bad things happen. The well goes so far down that you cannot see the bottom, which would be very helpful for mobsters who have to hide things quickly and don't want anyone else to find it. Throw it down the hole, you're never finding it again. It's gone. Forever. Also downstairs is a door to a seemingly mundane storage room. However, every time they open the door, it brings out negative vibes, and they believe that there's darkness behind there. The door has been blocked off for years. It now has a crack in it that was not there before. The lock itself has been bent outward as if something on the inside is trying to get out. That's some demonic shit right there. I'd be running, screaming. I avoid the basement because that's creepy. At one point, the owner used ground-penetrating radar to check the floor for inconsistencies, and most of it was too far down for them to really tell what it was unless they, dug up the floor. However, there were 2 things that were closer to the surface. He came across 2 full sets of human remains huddled up next to each other. He reported this to MPD, who said because they were so old and they didn't match with any open cases, they didn't have to dig them up unless the owner wanted to. So they decided to let the 2 skeletons be, and the remains are still underneath the concrete floor, and they have placed plastic skeletons on top of the spot where the actual skeletons are. They have never dug up the floor to see who these people were or why they were underneath the floor, but there they are. In 2001, the bar underwent some renovations. Horrifyingly, a pile of charred bones was found underneath some floorboards at the back of the penthouse on the third floor. A medical examiner took the bones to research them and discover their origins. It was discovered that about half the bones were animal and the other half were human. The medical examiner was able to confirm that the bones were from a girl from her late teens to early 20s and were about 70 years old, which would place the bones around the 1920s. Staff believe it to be Molly Brennan, which is a fascinating ghost story throughout the bar. Molly was a 16-year-old Irish girl who was a prostitute in the 1920s. Back during the later years of the Prohibition era, when the bar was still under the umbrella of the Capone Brothers, the main floor was used for the business, speakeasy, as previously mentioned, while the second and third floor were used as the brothel. The second floor was used as a starting point of sorts. This is where all the fluffers were located. These are the girls that got the men ready, horned up, as you would say. Then they would go up to the third floor where the action commenced and they'd have sex, which I didn't know there were 2 floors to a brothel, but I do now. Molly Brennan was one of the girls on the third floor. One night, Molly received a visit from her ex named Patrick, who pleaded with her to leave her life of selling herself behind and they could run off together. Molly seemed to be in agreement, but the fear of abandoning her employers and facing the repercussions dissuaded her from the idea, because her bosses are mob bosses. So there's that. Also, because she really liked the luxury that she afforded with her occupation, she got paid good money. Sometime later, when Patrick came to visit her, he found her in bed with his father, that's a thing. To get from the main floor to the upper floors, you have to take a set of stairs. Now, at the top of the stairs was a gate and a bouncer. The bouncer that night, his name was Sam. Later that night, Molly, her ex Patrick, and Sam were found dead. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but the general consensus is that Patrick murdered Molly out of rage from finding her in bed with his dad. But no one really knows what happened between Patrick and Sam. Some believe that Patrick killed Sam and then himself. Some think it's the other way around. Some think they may have killed each other at the same time. No one really knows. The consensus is that Patrick did kill Molly, and that is how she died, but no one really knows how Patrick and Sam died, how that went down. And it is believed that not only the spirit of Molly haunts the penthouse, but so does Patrick and Sam. One of the more well-known ghosts in the bar is a little 8-year-old girl named Elizabeth. Elizabeth is known to haunt the first floor women's bathroom. Visitors and patrons have heard little girls laughing, her little padding footsteps. She knocks on bathroom stalls and sometimes even opens the stall doors when people are in there. She's also mischievous. She likes to move things right outside the bathroom door, misplace them. She just likes to play. Even though opening the bathroom door while people are in there is not cool, but she's not evil. She's just like a mischievous little girl playing. Before the building was on the land, as I said earlier, it was a graveyard, and within the graveyard was an apple tree. Elizabeth had come to the graveyard one day and decided that she was going to climb the tree. However, she lost her footing, or whatever it may have happened. She slipped and fell out of the tree and broke her neck. So she has been there longer than the building itself, but is stuck on the grounds. What makes this place even better is that it was in Milwaukee, which is the hunting ground of Jeffrey Dahmer, which everyone knows about Jeffrey Dahmer, especially since the Netflix series came out. This bar was actually a regular haunt of Jeffrey Dahmer. He came a lot in the 90s, so Jeffrey was there. Good times. And while skeptics, that's natural. They're not going to believe that supernatural experiences happen here or this place is haunted in general. So many people have had experiences that it's kind of hard to deny. Beer delivery guys who have gone downstairs, big dudes, have come upstairs and not gone down for their hand carts. They not gone down for the empties. They go down and do not want to go back down. They drop their stuff and they run. They just sense something bad down there. If there's a demon, it's downstairs, behind that door. Federal agents have visited the bar, and they have actually, because they have concealed carry, most of them, have, grabbed their guns and pulled them out because they felt like something was wrong. sensation that something was there, something wasn't right, and they would actually hold on to their guns in fear that there would be something. But there was nothing. To add to the spookiness, the penthouse that I mentioned earlier, where a 3-person murder happened, it is an Airbnb. I do not know if it's available right now, but it's an Airbnb. So if you would like to stay at the bar and have a grand old time being haunted, you totally can. The owners say that about 10% of people actually stay through the night because it is so uncomfortable. They hear voices, they hear footsteps and sounds, and they feel like someone is in the bed with them, and sometimes they even see imprints of someone sitting on the bed. So, if you would like to try it out, it is in Milwaukee. It sounds like a really cool bar. They style it like it's the 1920s, 1930s. They have alcohol and cigars, so it'd be a cool place to visit, regardless if you believe in ghosts. They do have ghost tours on Fridays and Saturdays of the building, so you can learn the history and walk around. I would highly suggest checking it out. I have never been there, but it sounds really cool.